to the latest episode of Disorderly Blonde. This is Christy.
And this is Brenda. It's time to get happy!
Woohoo! Because 10 a.m. is never too early for that second cafecito, chased with a cocktail delivered by our in-house cabana boy.
No, Christy, hello. Hello. We have our first guest of season 2. Is it Maria Jacobo?
Yes.
Oh, Jacobo from Happy.
Woo-hoo!
Yes, it's Maria Jacobo.
I see she isn't blonde.
No.
Did she at least bring tip money?
I don't
actually,
know.
brunette.
I haven't given her a pat down yet, but she does look fun.
And she's from my old stomping grounds, Weston, Florida. So
Yes.
welcome, Maria.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
You're so cute too. That helps.
Thank you.
We only have 2 guests.
Right? Yeah. it's been a trend.
Everyone's very cute. I don't know.
I'm going to make my microphone closer to me because it's been put a little bit
Yes.
there. But so Maria, you are the co-founder of Happy. We're happy to have you. I don't know how many times I'm going to say that today.
We're going to count.
But Happy stands for Helping Adults with Autism Perform and Excel, which is a relatively new and local initiative. And has us so excited. You're also an autism mom. We're thrilled to introduce you to our listeners.
Hey.
Also known as our hashtag Disorderly Tribe.
Yes.
Before we talk about Happy, or helping adults with autism perform and excel, we want to know all about you
Whoa.
and your background. We understand you two are living this autism life along with us and our listeners and now viewers, because we're going on YouTube soon. Yay!
Yeah. Well, where do I start? I'm
Everyone.
originally from the Dominican Republic. I actually grew up in Montreal, Canada, and went to school there. I actually moved there for college. I graduated like when I was 16, and I decided I wanted to be a feminist and leave my country behind and find a better future for myself. I actually started in mathematics and what do you call that? That actuarial math. That was my first major, and then I switched to international politics.
Christy, we need to keep her around because Christy and I don't do math. It's like,
I am good at math. That's a let me tell you.
do not do math.
we are the creative types.
Yes.
And we need her. We need her. Stick
Well,
around.
I actually have a minor in mathematics and statistics or actuarial math, and then I found that to be so boring because I know my brain is wired. I'm a little nerd with a bubbly personality.
Right.
So I took an elective and discovered my passion. And that was, my elective was in international relations. And I said, I want to be in the nonprofit world. That was actually 30 years ago. I'm 46 now.
I was going to say when you were 9.
I'm 46, guys. So when I started school, I was so young and that switched my whole life. Little did I know that I was going to start, some 20-something years later, my own nonprofit. I have helped many of them through the years, nothing linked with autism. But my passion for autism started when I had my older son, Angel. He's 21. And he actually was diagnosed at that time. Remember, the word autism was big. Nobody knew about it.
Only Rain Man.
Exactly,
That's it,
only Rain Man. That's the only person I've ever heard about autism.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, they told me so many different things. That he was pervasive developmental disorder. That
I had otherwise.
Yes.
Okay.
Or that means
NOS.
that means the bottom, like we can't figure out what's wrong with this child.
Okay. You don't know crap.
Bullshit diagnosis.
Yes,
You
you
don't
don't know
know
crap.
crap. Called it, yeah.
And then, he's speech delay or he needs occupational therapy, but nobody could have told me what happened until I went back to Montreal because that was something that their dad and I were not longer together as a couple, but we co-parent together. We decided that our kids were going to go to school in Montreal. I'm trilingual. I speak 4 languages plus the Spanish. And Montreal gives you that opportunity. You go to school, you learn French and English and whatever you learn at home. So when I put him in school, start school at 5 years old, like any other mom, I had already given him speech and language and a lot of OT and a lot of other therapies. This is the first time they told me, we need to test him and he's autistic. And I was like blown away.
Right.
I was like, what? So from 3. That
So
was
you had
like-
started speech just to like get him to be more because he wasn't verbal.
He wasn't verbal.
He wasn't verbal, right, so-
My son will speak a word or two. He'll sell the moon, or he'll set the shoes, or something like that. But after he was, and I hate to say it, vaccinated at 3,
Mhm.
then we saw that regression, that he lost not only the ability to speak the way that he was, but also he just walked right through me, and he didn't recognize me as his mom.
Mhm.
And for me, that was devastating. That was like
Right, you
horrible.
lost him. He was a shell. He went
Yeah.
from being bubbly and
Yeah, and
to
playful.
nothing. Right.
I know he had some speech delays and things like that, but he was able to engage with other kids. At this point, he wasn't.
Right.
Not
a
anymore.
lot of kids do regress.
So when we gained something because he was in therapy for speech and OT, and then at 5, and again before starting school, what happens? We vaccinate again, and then that's when another regression happened. So it really marked me because usually as moms we think that is something that I'm doing wrong, or
Right.
that
Yeah, you take the blame.
what did I didn't
Mhm.
see. We didn't, and at that time, for the audience sake, we didn't have internet like before, or the
Right.
social media. We didn't have those groups. Everything was so isolated. I felt so alone.
I got
Oh, we
library
were.
books.
We were back there. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, absolutely.
We were.
Yes.
And we were talking off air earlier is that we all have older kids. So
Mhm.
yours was definitely the older. Mine is 17. In case you're just joining us new on season 2, and Christie's is 15. So we have been there, done that. And at the time, starting out, we were, and you're completely right, isolated and less information.
Yes,
than now.
totally.
Yeah.
And you felt like this was a huge word that you didn't want to say because usually, he doesn't look autistic because the model of autism that we had was so severe
Mhm.
that people didn't know anything about the spectrum.
Yeah.
So I made it a point, like any other mom, because I love learning and I love teaching. That's my passion. And I thought always that I was going to end up working in a nonprofit, teaching people how to live a better world and a better life, like work for Greenpeace or, the UN. That was my goal when I switched to international politics. But then, I always say that God had all those other plans with me. But knowing, I said, I need to know and I need to be ready because if I have this child, more than him being able to recite the Pythagoras theorem, I wanted him to be a human, a human being, a decent one, and somebody who was going to be able to work in society, be integrated in the community. I mean, coming from an island, not everybody gets the privilege to go to school or go to university. My parents were huge on education. I was by 12 speaking English because my dad, every Saturday, which I hated him. Now my mom and dad are in heaven, and I'm so blessed that I had parents that were so invested in education. While my friends were going, having fun in the weekend, I was studying English from 8 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon.
Wow.
With Mr. Mackenzie, who's in, and I was like with a group of people. I was like, I'm like, why? And then my dad said, one day you're gonna thank me. Well,
And here we are.
here we are, years later.
Yeah.
But for me, education was big. And I said to myself, maybe he's not going to be able to be a doctor. I don't know what that's going to do with him. But the best he could be, I'm going to try. And that took a lot of faith because his diagnosis was very grim. He was severe. They told me that he had very low IQ, that he wasn't going to be able to make it more than past kindergarten or maybe first grade, with being optimistic second grade level, and he was never going to fully speak sentences or be coherent. That he was never going to recognize me as his mom, or he was just going to grab my hand because he understood that object that he was going to see me as an object was actually going to provide food or something that he needed, but that I had to be ready for no affection.
Wow.
So my mind was
That's
like,
pretty intense.
my first prayer was like, that you pray, you connect to your higher power. I'm a person of faith, and I said, God, you know what? All I want for him is to look at me in the eye, tell me, Mom, I love you, and means it, and I can work from there.
Maria, we love hearing about your background because we all have such similar, it's like no one's journey is exactly the same, but we can pick out so many, pieces. So tell us how you were able to transition from Canada to the States and what happened next.
Actually, when he was diagnosed, we were, the first therapy he ever got was in Dominican Republic. We had him tested in Boston because his dad used to work in Boston. And then I went back to the Dominican Republic because I thought he's just speech.
Right.
So,
Just a
and
speech delay.
OT.
Mm-hmm.
So when we decided to start school, the agreement we had was we're going to go and study in Canada because it's so diverse, the culture. This is where he was diagnosed. And when that happened, one of the doctors that actually evaluated my son from Boston said they're 20 years behind Maria because of the French. There was two things. Canada, in Montreal, where I grew up, I speak fully French. There is a law, it's called Law 101. That means that if you're the son or the daughter of an immigrant, you have to go to school in French to preserve the roots of that Canadian heritage.
How cool.
So that meant that my son was only going to receive therapy in French, which for me was no problem, but his dad is Dominican and American, and most of his family only spoke English. So we decided, he was working in Boston, let's, reorganize the family the way we had it, because at the time he was traveling between Montreal and Boston. That was the plan. His work was only 6 months in Boston, and then we're planning to live the rest of the year in Montreal. And then we had to move the whole family and replan things, and I had to wait 6 months for school for him to be accepted. And that's the testing started, he was already tested in Montreal. We did further testing over there. But like I said, the testing was inconclusive, let's say, pervasive developmental disorder, because he wasn't acting like the typical autistic child that they knew at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It was only when he was actually, I've heard the word autism, then I had the team, I remember, no he is, no he isn't. But until he was actually later, 8 years old, we had, yes, he is autistic, and this is what it is,
Wow, that's a long time to wait.
I know, but meantime, I was very proactive with therapies,
Of
and
course,
we were
you
very
have-
inclusive with it. There's not, we have to.
I remember thinking when he was like 3, and even members of our family were like, he's gonna be fine by the time he's 8 or 10. And I remember thinking 8 or 10 was so far in the future, and now he's 17. So wow.
And it took me a long time to understand that autism is not something you just get over. I remember when we were dying for diagnosis. Well, I was. My husband's like, I don't care what you call it. You can call it purple.
Exactly.
You just need to get him help. I'm like, no. I need a word. I need an answer. And then when you get PDD and OS, that's such a mind screw because it's really nothing. It's still nothing.
Right. It's still
Oh my gosh.
But I remember thinking, okay, we'll get him caught up by kindergarten.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And these are the things that you think, and
then you see that gap growing, and you get
Yes.
desperate because
Yes.
when he was tested, my son only had 3 months in language at 2.6.
yes,
And he was 2.9 in age. But then I remember this wonderful speech and language pathologist in Boston, Martha Simmons is her name, and she told me, Maria, you see these 3 months, you need to get ready because that's gonna turn into years. And if you don't give him the help, that could actually become his biggest disability because he won't be able to communicate. So you need to. And she helped me with the team. Like I said, I wasn't like your husband fixed on a diagnosis, but how can we help him out of where he was?
yes.
And we believed back in our time, we believed in a cure.
Right.
Right?
Right.
We believe that I'm gonna put
There's
this
gonna be a
child
cure.
through
Yes.
every therapy out there.
And we did every therapy, every diet,
Oh
every
my goodness.
everything. Every new thing. I mean, name a therapy, we've done it.
And
All of it.
I actually had to pray because there were so many things available that I didn't even know what to put in
That's
through.
the hard part, and also the emotions that surround you. Like let's say you're sitting in a waiting room at a therapy place, and you hear their moms talking. You're like, oh, what is she doing? And what? Oh, are they better off than me because they're doing this therapy? And it's very confusing.
Well, we also I remember having a friend, we were doing at the time, we were very into a diet, when he was like kindergarten, first grade, and I remember I told his mom all about what we were doing and the doctor we were using, and who's still a great guy, but every kid reacts differently to and I remember she came back like 6 months later, and now her son, she had put him on the same protocol that Jenna was, and her son had speech, and he was going to be mainstream, and I'm like, what just happened?
Oh
I mean, that's great.
Exactly.
I was glad to help, but I'm like, I helped her,
and then my son is still the same.
But my son was still the same, and I was like, what happened?
Well,
what about us?
Now we know that they don't
We're
have the same
sufficient.
immune
They
response.
don't. I know.
Exactly.
I know,
They
but
don't
now
have the
we
same
know.
genes.
I mean, he did improve, obviously, like, a lot of things did work for us, but for her son was like instant. She was like, I'm so grateful to you for helping me, and I'm like, thanks. I think.
Oh my goodness.
But that's what I love what
Yeah,
we
it's
do,
hard.
because at the very
You
least,
just put it out there
you
and
can
give
tell
everyone
other
the
moms,
information.
like, listen, if that's what you're feeling right now, we've been there, we get it.
Yes.
We get it.
And we feel with everything that we try and we see others thriving, you always question yourself as a mom, am I doing everything right? Did I
Did we
do
try that?
everything
Yeah.
the way? I mean, I remember being awake at night, because moms with autism, they know that they don't sleep all night.
Mhm.
First of all, if you have a child like mine, that he will wake up in the middle of the night and wanted to take a walk.
Oh.
Because he wanted to see the moon and the stars.
With or without you.
Exactly. With or without you, you'll be like, oh my goodness, So any little thing will wake me up. Besides, like my house, my house looked like like a vault with all these locks and things.
We
That
have
he will
we
learn in
have
a heartbeat how to
Oh, of
actually
course,
figure it out. Oh, this is how I open it. Like he will be so talented in that. But for me was the fact that I put so much pressure in everything that I had to choose, because at the time his dad was traveling, and he said, I trust you because I can't be here, my job, I come home 10 days and I travel another 10 days, so it was so unstable. I trust you. And then I felt that every decision I made could impact my son forever. So that weight, like at night, like I was awake at night and I just didn't know what else to do, when it was the time to pull in the plug on something, or when should I add
And
more.
if you do pull the plug, then you're like, oh my God, now he's not going to have it. You get cold feet. You're like, did I do the right thing?
Mhm.
Exactly.
And all the while, all the other kids
Mhm.
are thriving and growing by leaps and bounds and having typical birthday parties and,
Yes.
all the emotions that go along with that. It's hard.
It is very hard, and you feel left out. And thank God, I have a son. God gave me a younger boy. He's 19. They're around 18 months apart, and that's when I knew how big the gap was.
Sure.
Right.
Because seeing them, and I hate to compare children. I believe that everybody's unique, but then when you see a child that by 2, I'm like, every speech therapy that I ever given my other son, this one was like excelling.
Right.
And he was actually so helpful with his brother,
That's right.
grabbing him and saying, it's water, say, because
Aw.
Yeah.
Angel will actually go to him to get what he needed. He wouldn't even sometimes come to me. He'll go to his
Aw.
younger brother because they have this
Unspoken.
language.
Yeah.
Yes, that is like nonverbal language, pointing. I think, it was just a synergy
So cool.
that he immediately knew.
And I feel
what
like
he
your mind
needed.
is still reeling, because I remember I have a younger son, also 3 years, and he had to have speech therapy. So I'm like, oh, here we go. And he ended up having speech therapy like a typical child, and then he was fixed, and then he was checked out. They're like, oh, sign here. He no longer needs speech therapy. I'm like, what is that?
Exactly.
Wait, he's finished with speech therapy? You can't even process the
Yes.
typical.
Yeah,
So
you
there's
can.
emotions that go along
And
with
for
that too.
me, my son at the beginning, they thought that he was autistic, so he was tested
Oh, yes.
because he will imitate what his older brother was
Ah.
doing. He's like, Mom, autism is all I know. I didn't even know about autism, so I was just doing what my brother was
Oh
doing.
my gosh. I've
That
never
was
heard of that
as a way of communicating with him. Well, he
He's
turned
like,
out, yeah.
more? And he's like,
So my son will start like spinning things, the other one will start spinning things. So, and then people, they told me, well, when you have a son with autism and you have a second son less than 3 years apart, there's an 80% chances that your second one is autistic.
Yes. Ignorance is bliss, because I think, I don't know that I would have.
When they told me that, I'm like, no, they're not the same. There's no, there's now, at the time now, there was Asperger's coming in.
Yes.
You remember that big word? And
we aspired to that. We were like, we just want
We're like, if we could
Asperger's.
just be an Asperger's.
exactly.
Terrible.
So then I have to. At the beginning, I'm like, I cannot handle. I mean, I had no family here,
Yes.
and at the time, I didn't know anybody. I had very few friends. So for me, it was like, now who do I go to? I don't even know what an Asperger's kid is, but thank God he turned out to be ADHD for what that meant, bouncing off the walls and being hyperactive. But he's such a joy to have. But at the end of the day, what I wanted to say to all the moms, I know it's hard, and picking and choosing, either one therapy or the other. But the best advice I've ever had was from my son's pediatrician, Dr. Mandel. His name is Fred Mandel in Boston. He said to me point blank, because he saw me so desperate, and he said to me, nobody knows your child more than you. And I want you to trust yourself. Because
that's a hard one.
We always say that, go with your gut.
Go with your gut.
Go with your gut over family, over friends, or even over doctors and teachers. Go with your gut.
Because he said to me, I recommend things based on what you tell me.
Right.
So be observant, see what works or not. And if you don't know, you don't know, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm here to support you. And that was the biggest reassurance I ever had and what I ever needed, that empowered me to make the right decisions and to fight for him and to see things in him that other people didn't see, because I thought I was crazy. But I see that he actually understands. No, he's not understanding. But yes, he does.
Yeah. Pick a lane,
Mm-hmm.
stay in it, and stay in the driver's seat.
And here we are now, 2019. Did you just wake up one day and say, let's get happy?
Oh my goodness.
How did this all get started? And who
my
is
God.
happily helping?
Oh my goodness.
Can you say that 3 times? Who is happily helping?
I like that.
Happily helping, happy.
Everything started because then at 12 years old, everything started clicking for my son. I did some, new therapy from 8.5, 9 to 12. That is, they were calling intensives with Julia Harper, and she has a center called Therapies, which I love her. And it was like working 4 hours a day with him for 21 days. This is how the brain actually creates neuroplasticity. That's when we started to hear that word too. And I was one of her first clients here in Florida. At the time, I decided to move here. I was then a single mom. I wanted to be closer to my parents who were retired in the Dominican Republic, and I had to be traveling back and forth. So in Florida, Dad and I made the agreement that we were gonna live here, and for him it was easier to come to Florida now based on the job that he had. So from 12 to, he started a new school actually too, and that was 6th grade, and he only knew how to write his name, and he didn't even know how to write or read. And at that school, they told me for the first time, after he was being held behind at 3rd grade, we're gonna put him with his peers and see how he develops. And for me, it was like, what?
Exactly.
Are you sure?
Right.
And he actually entered with his peers. And
We get the modeling.
let me tell you, that's cool. And the therapies and everything we've been giving him for 12 years kind of clicked.
Came together.
And he was able to soar. He had an award every year. He learned how to read, how to write, math came in. I'm not telling you that he's working at a great level, but he graduated high school. In the 6, years, he gained so much. Because he started so late, he could do only a certificate of attendance, let's call it, or a vocational.
Right.
But he went and took a test, and he has a high school diploma. But he was accepted in a college. And when he was accepted, with the help they promised the college and, all the support, I was so confident that he can do the job. But then 3 weeks within college, not even, he told me, Mom, I want out. I can't work at the same pace or level than the other kids. Class are not modified or help for me.
Right.
Sure.
And they promised a peer mentor that we thought that was somebody who he can, and he was left alone in the dorm. He was he lost 25
Wait,
pounds.
side note, that's really brave of you. Like,
Yeah.
you're adorable. Like, hey, can you
Yes,
You left him because I would be like,
It was
in the
actually
bushes? Again.
yes. We have
Here I
worked so much. When I told you that he gained, he is driving,
What?
oh,
but he doesn't drive himself anywhere because mom doesn't let him. But he drives
Right.
with me.
Right.
But he made such strides to try new things that I said, you know what? He has a half sister, so his sister was in the same college. He's in Boca Raton, so I decided to let him go there. I mean, it's not that he was away, And when he started having doubts at the beginning, I did that transition. One day you sleep home, one day you sleep in the dorm. But when I saw that he was losing so much weight, I went actually to the school and figure out, and he would leave his room after classes. He will only go and eat once in the cafeteria because he was scared to walk
social.
Okay.
to alone, and people will leave him alone. He wouldn't, even his peer mentors, he wouldn't even. And one of the things that I found out is that he needed to self-advocate to be in a group. And if we have an autistic child, we know that they're not going to do that. Shyness, and I'm like, what school is for? Even though they have the best intentions,
Right.
they're not doing it right.
Or you have to actually spell everything
So-
out for them
Yes.
to be in place.
So then the child, I mean, you're telling me that a disabled child that have a communication issue needs to go to you and say, I need this. I mean,
Hello.
exactly. I mean, I just want to slap them silly because they can have all the titles in the world, but they don't know how to
They
do
don't
this.
get it.
Yeah.
You know, they don't get it.
Welcome to my world.
Exactly.
I want to slap everybody. But
So then I pulled him out of school because he talked about suicide.
no.
He talked about, if you leave me here, I don't want to leave anymore. He's very drastic. I know we know now that he didn't meant it, but that meant for me going
Of
through
course.
psychologists and having to see how deep this was. And he just wanted out. And I just, okay, you don't have to. I pulled him out. And when I pulled him out, I remember saying, this is not going to happen to anybody else. I need to do something. I need to create programs. I need to do something because he's ready to do this. He's ready to learn more and have a profession or let's say, a vocational profession. And we're not, because of a communication mishap, it's not happening.
And to cut to the chase, what was out there for him?
And-
Waiting for him
Nothing.
on a silver platter.
Nothing.
Really?
We actually found out.
Shocker.
Shocking. So I walked into, I remember the first thing I did, I have a membership at Midtown Athletic Club in Weston.
Yeah.
I went to see my friend Marlene and I'm like, I need to put this to sleep.
My Marlene?
Yes, probably Marlene. Is
Well,
she's like blonde.
from Els.
Yes. Okay. So, and she tells me, Maria, why do you want to, I'm quitting. I mean, I have to dedicate myself to this, my new autism crusade. I'm creating something, a foundation for autism that's going to help them transition to college or to adulthood because I can't deal with this. And she was like, oh my God, I have a group of members right now that has started our organization, that they are starting an organization. None of them are related to autism, but they have a friend that has a son with autism and they want to help. And they have a meeting right there in the cafeteria. Go and tell me what you think. I walked in.
I have the chills right now.
Yes. So this is divine
Perfect
appointment. This is, I met Larry Rothman, which is our chairman, and he came up with the idea of the name Happy. And he
I
started
like him.
the organization. I
You
had
like Larry's?
yes, and I had a vision for the name to be Angels in Special Missions because my son's name is Angel. Now
Right.
that's
Right.
a sub let's say program that we have to help them transition and to help the community. But helping adults with autism actually was created that way because they had one envision at the time, and when I came in on board, I took on the name with them, and we actually crafted what is Happy today.
Unbelievable.
Yes, 3 years we have now together.
Great. Maria, the mission of your organization is to build and maintain a community of employment support
Yes.
for adults diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. You work to create and implement innovative approaches in education, development, and support to address autism's unique challenges
Yes.
for sustaining employment. Notice all of my accents on those words. So the words adult and employment are definitely ing our radar, as we're both raising young adults on the spectrum who aren't getting any younger. Funny how we are getting younger by the minute.
Sure.
Yeah, just not them.
It's those filters.
I'm getting that app. We also should note the terms unique and challenges and sustaining. What is it that HAAPE's doing to help remedy the issue of unemployment and I love that word. I love to hate that word. Underemployment of adults on the spectrum.
We know that unemployment was, when I started, 98% of them were unemployed. And for me, that was horrible. What a horrible thing to waste, is to waste the mind of a person. And he is a person, he's not a disease. So when I came in on board, Larry had this idea of, everything started because, Larry is Jewish and I'm a Latino. I'm the only Latino in my
husband
organization.
is named Larry and George too.
Okay, so I'm in the group of at the time there was somebody else Hispanic, but they're so gringo, and he said, Maria, in the army, in Israel, they actually take the person with the spectrum and they do software and technology testing, and we want to do that. Then we found a company that was actually trained by them in Chicago, and we approached them. And we said, we want to have a center here for software and technology testing, and they actually train us. And is called Spectrum Tech. It's located in Davie. And for those moms who have children with 17 and more, that's what we actually training them. But after that, we are helping them get jobs. And one of the challenges that we have had, we opened last March, this center, because we were fundraising.
Right.
And from March till now, we have trained 9 kids, I believe. And we're actually in the process of connecting them with work. We getting companies, some of them are still in the process of finishing their training. But this company, Spirit Tech, that trained us in Chicago, last year made $3 million. And it's paid directly to them. We are 100% volunteers. We don't take money, not even for our coffee. Every money that you donate goes to develop that program. And I wish that we could get more money so we can get actually more companies connected to our project. And more
coffee. What does that training look like for the kids?
Oh my goodness. The training is actually, imagine you have to know coding and you have to know certain things that they're going to be actually learning on the spot. And since every technology is different, so what they have to learn at the time of getting hired for a company, let's say that you get hired by a boss to test some new headphones, you have to know exactly where that system fails, that the headphones is not connecting to the phone or to the computer. So they have a checklist to go through. So that's what the training looks like, and it's very specialized. And the reason we wanted to start with that is because it was easier in the sense for us to hire them in a faster way. This is what we thought. But then me being a mom said, what's going to happen with those who don't like technology?
Right.
So then we're now opening a vocational center for those, because my goal is not for them only to learn something, I learn it and then I stay home. And if I go to work, you're going to pay me, a $5-7 salary. I want to be paid at a competitive rate for what I've been trained.
But
So
they do it at the center.
They do it at the
Weston.
center. They
And
go-
like how many hours a day?
they actually, it's not in Weston, it's in Davie.
Daily.
And they go there from 8 in the morning to 2 to get training, and the job they'll do it on site around the same time too.
Okay.
So this is where they are at. We partner with United Community Options. They're the operators of the center because we know that it was gonna take us like 10 years to open this center with all the certifications and things. So one of the things that I've learned is the power of alliances. So we partner with United Community Options and they run and operate the center for us. So we fundraise.
Is that formerly UCP?
Yes.
Okay.
That's formerly UCP. Now they have a space. They have the trainer there. That his name is Cody. He's an amazing guy, and we have a whole team of people that I don't have to, or none of the foundation needs to train to do that. So we have qualified hands helping them. So the Sepulcon program that we're opening, and I'm so excited about it. Along the line, it starts in January with Broward College.
Oh, that's so exciting.
It is very exciting, and the first of them, and this is the first of many, and I believe it is in the area of avionics.
I saw it.
So avionics, I'm really excited because it's really easy to do. Is to test the radios for the airplanes, and it's a 9-month program, 2 semesters. There's also a 2.5 years. You don't have to have a high school diploma to do this. You can have a certificate. Let's say like
Certificate of
Completion.
completion.
You can. We're rewriting the curriculum as certain what the standards are, but
Well, my son's in, I don't know about Broward, but Dade County,
Mhm.
they are now getting, as far as I was told, they switched it back to an actual diploma, but
Mhm.
Yeah, we have it.
it's a regular diploma, despite them not really doing the actual curriculum work at the
Exactly.
same level. It's just a regular diploma.
Exactly. So as long as you have that piece of paper that you completed, and then we are looking for other also. We're writing the curriculum as we speak. And one of the questions was, what's going to happen with the kids that did not complete it? If Broward is willing to give them like a basic program adapted to them. And this is happening, guys. This is happening, and I'm so excited. They've been so helpful. So if you have a child who's graduated and their passion is airplanes or to fix things, it's basic. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4 steps, 5 steps plugged to a computer to do. I think I can do it by now. I just need to get hired because I wanted to go through the program to see.
How much math is involved?
Oh,
I don't think Brenda and I are can.
We
No,
would get fired.
no.
Paint it really cute though, I'm sure.
Let me tell you, it's not that bad.
Planes would be
At
falling
all.
out of the sky,
It's
left
very-
and right.
Yes.
Yes, it's very basic because
Sorry.
it's electronic, so it's more like electrical things A and B, and it's very hands on.
Right.
So I love that program, and
What is the intake process like? So like how do you screen which students get to go on the program, or how do you apply?
we have a club at Cypress Bay that has 92 kids.
I opened that school.
Oh my goodness, you were opening in that school, awesome.
I have my hard hat still.
Oh, that's awesome. So we have Miss Guard that is actually the lady that not only runs the club but runs the special needs program there. And you guys are very familiar with IEPs and all the shenanigans that we have to go through
Good times.
for them to learn. So one of the things that we have a team of people that are actually continuing the same kind of accommodations that they had in high school that we can provide in this program, because that's part of being
Why
successful.
reinvent the wheel? Try to figure out what their
Exactly.
strengths and weaknesses are and goals.
Exactly.
And that's
So
genius.
If you're based on your IEP, we're gonna be able to tell. And like I said, this is for medium to high functioning, and I hate to set that standards, but we have to.
We get it.
And you know, hopefully that's going to be more inclusive. And for the vocational, or that's opening next year, we have a capital campaign that we're running right now because and we have a fundraising event October 17. You guys are invited, and that's all going to be for music, a night of music and art. And I said,
That's where Dylan comes in. My
Yes.
son. He's more in the artsy side like mom.
there you go.
Yeah.
And my goal is for them to, when I open this vocational center, is not only to teach them a craft, but how to be business wise about it. How am I going to market these earrings that I know how to make if I'm a girl that likes to make earrings, or the jewelry, or you know, if he's painting, or if he's actually playing songs or creating beats. Everything is a business right now. So we're actually crafting a program for them and a place where they can actually sell their merchandise. And for me, it's all about being independent, because one of the biggest questions that I had when I'm creating these programs is what's going to happen when I'm not here?
Of course, that's like our
Once,
question.
I have a son, but I don't know who he's gonna marry. He said, "Well, but Angel is my son, Mom, and he's gonna live with me." Yeah, but you wanna have your family and enjoy. We don't know. And as they grow older, sometimes they develop other fixations or other things that are hard. I mean, I don't want to say that that's gonna happen to our kids, but we have to look at all the possibilities. So we're also fundraising in that capital campaign for a living facility that they can just go to work, monetize, socialize, because it's not going to be only for autistic kids, adults. We're actually modeling from an European community that had embraced them, and it's like a small village, and we actually want to model that here, and that's our other step, guys. We also have a job board. The job board is very exciting because we had it hacked. So we had to regain it, and AP did an amazing job, or one of our technical support. But what that job board does is, it doesn't matter the work that you do, because there's companies out there. Not only I'm creating programs for them to get trained and hired, but also there's people in the community that have small businesses or big companies that are hiring them. So now they're going to be able to post the jobs in our job board.
Right.
And
for simpler things. Maybe,
yes,
like
not only simpler thing, anything that they can do. Because I have an adult with autism that has a master's degree in math. He can do a lot of things, but
Can he help me with my grocery list?
I
because I'm really bad.
I'm probably gonna have to tell him. So if he's social enough, he can go and work in one of these companies. He doesn't have sound problems or sensory issues, so he's gonna be able to. So he just needs to write in his information and what are his let's say what he's able to do at any level. Yeah, his strength or his degree. If he doesn't have a degree, what he's good at, what he's been working on, and he's gonna match you to a job. It's gonna give you a list of possible jobs, and then you can apply to those lists of works, and they're gonna contact you, because not everybody is the same. So why am I gonna apply to something to get denied? We already said, heard no enough. So I wanted to match them to the right and the highest possibility to get hired.
I just want to mention something that we've learned, which is so awesome about this podcast, because we're just learning so much. Forget like the information that we're disseminating. I feel like sometimes about
That's
us
true.
and things that
Well, we
we're,
keep saying if you
we're
would have
learning.
told us this time last year that this is what we were going to be doing,
Oh yeah.
and that we
Forget
were
it.
going to be, like, hey, next year this is what you're going to be doing. You're going to be editing and producing, and I mean doing music
Taking
and
selfies
and
with
your-
Kardashian.
Oh my goodness, you're gonna have
Like,
people in your
seriously,
house, in your office.
We've learned so much
We have learned
this
so
entire
much.
year, and well, it hasn't even been a year, months, but yeah, it's crazy.
That's another math thing.
Yeah.
Same math, years math,
hours, I don't even know.
Ever.
But something I had wanted to piggyback on is that we're friendly with Valerie Hershkowitz of the Autism
Spectrum chocolate.
Wow.
Spectrum.
The chocolate spectrum.
The chocolate spectrum. Sorry.
And
Do you have a connector for
do you need
Try this.
a charger?
Yeah.
Oh, a charger. Got it. So, and she started working with her son Blake. She has an amazing story and is now employing adults in her chocolate store. And one of the disconnects that she had mentioned as far as job skills, and I got a little bit of this from Haley too, that people may be missing the sort of a subset of like social skills, like hand washing.
Oh, right. Yes.
Where
Right,
do I
right.
pick that up as far as like I can't shake your hand if I just come out of the bathroom? Is that something I may not have learned at home, but it's definitely a job skill?
That's
Um,
right.
It's not.
Self-help skills.
And this is my creating all these programs, I realized that not every child comes with the same set of basic skills.
Right.
And not every
Self-help
school
skills.
teach life skills the same way.
Right.
So I actually created what's called Happy Autism, community outreach. Now I'm renaming it.
We can
Where-
help with that.
with yes, I have like my sister last night was like,
That's
you
our
need to
strength.
call it, autism, employment consultant, because I actually go into the work. I see the child. I have an evaluation. I'm not saying that I'm like a super evaluator, but we have one of the.
You're super.
Yeah, thank you.
We haven't said super the entire time. We always say super.
It's our word.
Everything's super.
Exactly.
This is super
So
exciting.
I go to the basics with the mom. I see his IEP. Let's say that he needs direction. Most of our kids needs direction, and they hate that I call them kids. Most of our adults.
We just had this
Yeah, but we
conversation.
keep saying adult kids.
Yes,
We
most
keep
of
saying
our
adult
young
kids.
adults.
Yes.
They're more visual, and they forget things. They have auditory processing disorder. So I had a conversation with a great team of people. Let me just hold on, in Starbucks last week, because my son works at Starbucks, and they're willing to hire more people, but they want to know how. So I'm actually helping them with that. And one of the things that I do is I create the environment for not only them, but for people at work to remind them how to do those things.
Interesting.
Because how to redirect them, because they think because they're taught, oh, I already told them, I already said this to him, and I'm like, gee, he's gonna forget.
They need the maintenance.
Exactly.
Right.
You need, if we know something is the word repetition, right?
Yeah.
We have to repeat certain things, and even if they get it, they might lose the order.
Or something like a PEC system.
So
to,
when I go there, I organize in a simple way, because I don't want to overwhelm the owner of the business. What I do is I come into the business and I see what the logistics is. I observe the child. I'm not gonna send someone or gonna teach you to hire someone, because at the end of the day I want you to hire someone for you by yourself. So then I teach you the skills. What do you need to look at in that person? Because I understand that a lot of moms want their child hired and they want them to be hired, let's say, at the Marlins Stadium. But you gotta be realistic if he can really do the job. I'm not gonna. The PD party needs to end. He's a person, and he's capable of doing at level, a certain level, any skill, from working in a supermarket to direct traffic, let's say, to bagging things, to welcoming people at Walgreens, all the way up to a company doing software testing. My thing is, be realistic as a mom, what he can do so he can feel productive. Don't put him in a setting that they have in like a little tutu. Oh, we have our autistic pet here. You can pet him, you can say hello, but that's all he can do.
It's my biggest fear.
No.
My son's asking. My son just turned 15, but he gets on topics. And right now his topic is, I want a job. We just went to the Atlanta Aquarium.
Yeah.
Amazing. And he's like, I'm getting a job here. I'm like, okay, number one, JR, we don't live in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Minor detail. So it's one of his fixations. But my fear is, because I'm sort of a helicopter mom anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jackson.
We are.
Sorry to
we got to
people,
learn
you
that.
know.
We are helicopter
So,
moms.
I'm like, oh, you don't need a job right now, or next year, or so. My biggest fear is kind of stifling him.
No, but then my son started at 14. Publix. One of those programs.
Yeah, my friend's son just got a job at Publix.
And that taught him a lot of socialization skills, follow-up instructions. Let me tell you, when we were young, we'll do anything. I used to babysit. I used to sell lemonade. I did anything to actually get our money for the summer and get our stuff. So
She said to actually get Armani. Like Armani?
Armani's
Like,
like,
our money. Sorry,
I'm like, what? She's
That's
working to get Armani. Wow,
No,
that's awesome.
I didn't even know then what
No,
our
I
money
did it
was.
in a good way.
also, not to interrupt you, but you can't dismiss that he, more than likely, somewhere in there, has that enterprising gene that you have. That maybe autism may be disguising a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't take that
I
away
think
from
that
him.
I see he doesn't. He's very artistic, my son. I'm more he likes computers, he likes technology to an extent. But I think that because I push him to try new things, I wanted him to be I was dying when he was going to Publix, because he was gonna be bagging people and then walking people to a cars that I don't know. But I had to teach him how to be safe. He had a phone, he had a coach, how to verbalize things for him, even if that was hard. We practiced. He had a little card at home. Somebody's inappropriate. This is what you do, and he had it in his pocket. But I'm the one adapting this for him. It wasn't the school. But if I didn't do that, then he wouldn't have the skill to work at Starbucks. And now he just got promoted. So the thing is that if we don't expose them to certain little things, we don't know how big they can grow. And sometimes as helicopter moms, we hinder that a little. Because we already assume, oh, he's not going to be able. Why? He's okay at home. Why am I going to expose him? But we're actually limiting what the little skill set that he's going to learn every day.
It's to their detriment. And
Yeah.
I'm guilty. And I think I need to propose to Happy. And I'm willing to have my own fundraiser for this.
Yes.
To teach the moms the skill set to have an ounce of the bravery that you have to be behind your son. Like I want to cry right now because you think of I feel like you thought of everything and
You know what I love about her? But I'm going to talk about you like you're not here. You know what I love about Maria?
she's right here.
Well, no, we meet a lot of people, and we are, we come up with an idea and we attack it, right? Like the podcast, we thought about it whatever October, and like by January we were already done. We had logo, we had everything. So you are not only full of ideas and full of the strength and that go-getter attitude, but you are actually doing this stuff.
She puts her Armani where her mouth is.
You put your Armani where her mouth is. No, you have gone out there and you're actually doing it. So it's very easy to sit there and say, someone should create a program. Well, no, you're like, I'm just gonna do it. And that to me, it's I admire that, and it's contagious because we love that kind
I
of.
want to just go out and do something right now.
I know, right now we're like, what else? Well, I will have to propose for Dylan.
Yes.
Well, I'll actually bring him down and have him maybe come in the interview for a second. Do a like an animation and editing.
That's coming. And
like
we're at the
movie
company.
filming,
Oh yes,
that's his thing.
coming.
That's what I was looking for him.
Oh,
because
there's
that's his
one
strength.
great company in California.
Is it the
we-
one by John Travolta?
No.
No, because he has and Tim actually sent me that link. Like, 10 years ago.
I don't want to
Where
say
was
the
that?
name because
It's
I'm
a film
horrible.
school. It's
Yes.
a film school where they learn editing and animation and all that.
This is a company that actually hires them.
Are we moving to LA?
No, we're not.
We're
we
moving
actually
to-
opening that here.
Oh,
We no.
we have a site
imagine
plan. We are moving to
The
California.
Kardashian.
we should fundraise for that. Now this is gonna be our goal because this is how I partnered with everybody. I found a group of parents or a group of people that are supportive in something, and then we do it. Listen, I attack things that's different. I don't see my son as with that label. I see him, and I'm gonna tell you this with all my heart in on my sleeve because I said God gave me a person in the form of a gift, and as I opened that gift, his layers, I needed to discover who he truly was, and everybody's different, but I wanted him to be the best he could be based on his potential, and I didn't limit God, and with that mindset, I teach him. There's nothing impossible. If you put your mind into it, you can do it. And it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to give it to the 100 degree. If you do it to the 20 degree, it's fine. If you do it to the 5 degree, whatever you have the capability of doing, for me, it's what's amazing. And when I see that, and when they're passionate about something, when they like something, and they see you as, hey, I trust you, they pick up on that. And they're willing to try it. And if you don't like it, it's okay. We'll try something
But you
else.
have to try it.
I mean, remember us in our teenage years and in high school? I mean, I had no clue. I changed like 2 times in college what I wanted to study.
Wait, yeah. I thought you meant change your clothes because I do that like 9 times.
Yes.
We still do that now.
So they don't have to figure it out by 18.
Right. Maria, how can families take advantage of Happy's services? And what is the first step to get Happy? Besides wine.
Oh my goodness. Email me, call me. I don't have a protocol. Email me, call me, stop me on the street, send me a DM, and I'll find the right way to connect you either with United Community Options that is running the center. We actually have a list of people. and we will connect you to the right venue. It's not only them. We also partner with different people within the community. I talked to a parent from Dallas yesterday, another from Canada. I get phone calls from all over the world for people that are actually needing support, because one of the things that I found is all the information is so out, like so not connected.
Right.
It,
Not
you know, one
organized,
person is
or
doing one
a
thing.
one-stop shop.
So then I'm like, I need to record myself now. Because like, I don't know how, like, I repeat the same thing so many times. One of the parents that I was helping the other day asked me a question about services. And I connected. I'm not a lawyer. She asked me, my son is 21, 22, and the hospital, he had a minor accident. They wouldn't even let me in or make decisions.
Yes.
So I'm like, have you
I
heard
just met a
about
mom that
guardianship?
told me that her daughter was 27 and she had a problem, and she said just now she's getting so she was telling me, are you make sure you get it. I'm like, oh, we're starting in January.
So
my son's 17 and a half.
I have a part of attorney already for my son signed if anything happens, but
Of course.
there is something else called guardianship that we need to look at as parents, because like we say, we're not eternal. But I don't do that myself. What I do is I connect you with a group of people and I give you the service for free. I mean, I tell you where to go, not to get ripped off,
Yes.
where you're gonna get it cheaper or free. So we have advocates, we have people that are actually that are my friends, that I tell them, wake up and help me this, in this family. And that's how I do it. Nothing so organized in the sense that you need to make an appointment or that you need to pay this amount of money. No, it's free.
You basically just have to know the disorderly ones.
That's
First,
right.
that's the first point of contact, and then we will get you. No kidding. But our show notes we have on our website for every show.
Show notes.
Show notes. I only push them because I worked so hard on them, especially the
This is
jokes
on our
in
website.
between all the clinical and
It's
important
great
stuff.
because you see
So-
the seriousness of it.
So so we'll have all of your contact information in the show notes, and just so people know that. Do you have anything else you'd like to share with us? What's new on the horizon for Happy, and which events will we need to buy new outfits for?
That's
Well,
right.
that October 17.
Maybe
it's gonna-
Armani. At Armani
Save the
dinner.
date, October 17 for Art Serve
Giovanni.
in Fort Lauderdale.
Giovanni!
You remember those Giovanni down?
How
Oh
can
my
you
god.
forget?
Grandma, are you? I have a flashback of my grandmother now.
Oh my gosh.
My grandma was like big on those Giovanni with the hats and all.
Oh my god.
God.
It's been around that
I
long.
know.
I didn't know
This is
that.
where I get my dramatic
Oh my
fashion
God.
sense. But yes, that
Little
event,
Housewives of
October
Miami.
17. If you want to volunteer, we always take volunteers. Another thing that I'm opening is actually I'm helping ministries or churches or people have an inclusive space or what to do, or a ministry to support families with autism. And when I said that is because 84% of couples that have a
Yes.
child with autism end up with divorce.
Correct.
We have moms, I was blessed enough that even though I separated from my ex, he's very much in touch with our kids and he supports us, financially and in other ways, in the sense that, that wasn't an issue growing up, but I see moms fighting for child support or
For
not
every little
having
thing,
where
for
to
every
live,
little thing.
for every little therapy. And that's already so stressful. So I have a women's group every Tuesday at 8 o'clock at my house. And not only from ministry, but then also for moms with autism that they need that extra support, especially the single moms. If you need someone to talk to, if you need someone to, at least to have you bring your wine, I bring my Coke.
I was just gonna ask.
Rather like, we can watch movies
Yeah.
or, just do something besides that world that gets so hard. We have to do
connect
all
for a
these
little
motions every day, and sometimes we don't take the time for ourselves,
Sure.
and we don't want to share with our regular friends what we go through. So I'm supporting the moms too, and I don't want to leave the dads out. I'm gonna find a dad who's willing to come in and at least talk about what is it for them, because
That's a big step.
yeah.
The pride.
It is.
I mean, I experienced that a little bit with my husband, a little bit, but he's awesome now. But I feel like those dads groups, they're not very well attended.
No.
So there's a little bit
Yeah,
of
I've mentioned it to. Well, I mean, not as much now, but when Dylan was younger,
Mm-hmm.
and Larry was like, screw that.
One of the suggestions that I had for a dad was, I won't go, but I listen if you have a group in Facebook and you bring people to talk about it. I'll listen. And
I like that.
Like a closed
There's a little bit
Yes.
of anonymity.
And he said that. He said closed group. And I was like, okay, that's a step forward. So,
At least he's saying yes.
but like you
Say
said,
yes.
he
Yes.
said to me, I just don't like crying in front of people. And when I think about my son,
Yes.
this is how I process.
Tim doesn't like crying in front of people either. We did an episode with the
I was just
husbands,
gonna say.
and that was the impetus. When we said we're doing a podcast, the second sentence that came out of our mouth was like, "We're gonna have husbands on," because when we get together, we're like, "Oh, it's such a riot." And my husband is like, I don't know. He's like a big guy. He just has this air of being very macho for a gringo. And he was
He was going for it. Yeah.
eyes
God.
out.
We're like,
even
my husband was like, who are you?
Exactly.
But I mean,
Imagine
it was, and every
They did
comment
great.
was, "Oh my gosh, Tim! Oh my gosh!" And it worked out.
But now they want to
beautifully.
do an episode where it's them interviewing
us.
Yeah,
That's
no.
gonna be.
Oh, they can
What
interview
about
us,
the
but-
kids? Do you want the kids to be interviewing you?
So
Well-
my son can't, but he has been on an episode.
On a little like
earlier.
write you the questions and see what you would
her
ask.
younger son's gonna be. We're doing a siblings episode, so we're
Yeah.
entering her. She has a typical
I'll bring my son.
Yes.
sibling. My youngest he doesn't have autism, but he has a genetic duplication, so I have two special needs
Wow.
kiddos. So mine are not as verbal, so mine would not be able to. Which was actually great when I interviewed him.
No.
When he was just like repeating everything I said, but he was really cute about it.
You don't want to give my kid a microphone.
Oh
I
my
do.
God. You don't want to
I
be
told you
like
what we should do is have
Oh.
JR and Dylan, because I think that JR will bring a side out of Dylan that he won't. Like Dylan might just look at him like, what is wrong with
Angel
him?
is very shy, but he has actually spoken at all my events
Oh, that's
for less than a
this I
minute.
have to see.
And he is recorded. I'm gonna put that on the website that we're redoing. And I was actually in an expo last weekend. It's the biggest literacy Christian expo in the world for Latino people. Publishing companies go there. And for the first time, they included a series of workshops called A Beautiful Mind that was one of the leading organizers. And I had a few workshops for parents. And he actually spoke about how he felt about being autistic. He answered a few questions. He was, very shy, but he was holding my hand and he was able to do it. And that's what I tell you the first time my son was asked to be on a stage in a school play, he was just flapping himself, covering his ears. And through that theater program that his school had, he was able to stand a little bit of noise. 5 years it took him, and he graduated with one small role in a play. So I think that if we expose them enough to something, they'll do it. Neuroplasticity keeps happening, and if we model them right, they're gonna. If we believe in them, they're gonna take the jump. So one of the things that you asked me was, what else do I want to see? I want to see more volunteering. Like, guys,
That was
honestly,
one of my next
I'm one
questions.
person and I want to clone myself.
Yes.
I want to clone you too and take you home with me.
Thank you. So if you guys have it in your heart to volunteer once a week, we're not gonna take over your house. For an hour and a half. This is everything that we've done here. We meet weekly for around an hour and a half, and then we go home and do things here and there. Look how much we've been able to do.
When you say we is
And Larry,
the board,
Richard,
members. Okay.
we have an executive board that is actually Larry, Richard, now is AP, our technical guy, and myself. Larry, sorry, I'm gonna have to say your age, Larry. He's 76, and Richard is about, a little bit younger. And with that said, what I wanted just to say is so little time, but such a big heart that we have for what we love, being able to create what we have.
Such a big impact.
Such a big impact in the community. So I want to be able to go to more businesses. If you're a business person, if you own a small business, and if you want to have a person with autism, an amazing person who's going to be on time, who's never going to be, late, who's going to do his job with excellence.
Dad, are you listening to this?
Unless
Call
Mommy's
me.
driving.
Dad.
No.
Yes.
It's just so strange and serendipitous because my dad is in that position. And I feel like, okay, my dad doesn't really listen to this podcast, so I can say this, but I feel like him relating to an outside person, having to spend that time with that person will bring him closer to my son because he doesn't see him as often, but if he's with someone
Yes.
and there's a lot of lessons there. That's pretty cool.
And then you can actually do an internship. It doesn't have to be a commitment of hiring and then let's say, oh,
Right,
mom,
try
you
it
have
out
to-
first.
And also, if you're a mom or a dad listening to this podcast, and if you have a son or a daughter with autism, sign them into our job board or send me an email. Tell me we exist and we don't know where to place them. I know that there is many colleges now creating programs. We are, oh my God, I forgot. We are actually doing an autism-friendly campus at Nova Southeastern University. That they opened the doors. You see, my time.
Wow.
So I want to do that in every other college because that's the heart of what happened with my son.
Sure.
So if you're a mom and a dad and you think, well, maybe he's not, I don't know if he's gonna be able to expose them, bring them, put them in our list so we can actually help
On
you
your radar.
place them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's horrible to have a person. Imagine he's gonna stay forever at home. No,
Right, no.
we have to find, and if it's nothing fits, then we create it. That's it.
That's what we do.
Yay, I love that. Thank you all for listening. Maria, it was such a pleasure to meet you and induct you into our disorderly tribe. Best of luck to you, and we will be keeping a close eye on all of Happy's happenings.
Oye, mi gente, the Anchor app is the way to go when listening to Disorderly Blonde's Autism podcast. We're having a lot of fun listening to those voice messages, dedications, topic requests, and comments about our outfits.
You mean my outfit?
You mean my earrings? Yes.
Whatever.
Thank you for having me.
Of
For
course.
me, such a pleasure.
Awesome.
And I know this is gonna be the first of many, guys.
Yes, I agree. That's it for today's episode. Remember to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and subscribe on our website for early bird access to our episodes, show notes, and upcoming store items. We want to hear from you too. Write us, DM us, call us, all of it. Spill it.
We're out, people. Nos vamos. We have hair appointments today. Yo. No more roots for us. That Rubio life ain't easy.
But first, do you think the Uber driver minds if we bring our bubbly along? Porque it's been a long day.
Dale.
Bye. See you on the bleach side. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.